Hello. It's Kevin. It's Friday. It's live from lockdown again, and I can see that a bunch of you are there. Thank you so much. Took ages to find this link, says Fiona. But Linda's there, and Fiona's there, and Wilda and Steve are there, and I'm getting texts. Okay. All the texts are positive. Thank you very much, Janet and Susanna and everyone else who's logged in. Let's get started. Live from lockdown, land acknowledgement. I'm here in Leith. I'm still in Leith, coming to you from this beautiful city of Edinburgh, in this beautiful country of Scotland. And I want to thank and honor the many people who have gone before me over many millennia on these marvelous lands, making this such an important and beautiful and fabulous place. Scots and Celts and Picts and invading Romans, and as I say, the English who don't seem to want to go away. I'd like to honor all of those, and I'd like to thank the many people who are here now and showing me so much welcome and generosity. I've got so many friends here. I've made so many new friends in the time I've been here. I'm a lucky man, and again, an honor to be here. Thanks to all of you for joining me. Off the top, that was a tune called Greens and Reds. It was a blues that I called Greens and Reds, a tune that I wrote a number of years ago. It's really kind of an autumn tune. I wrote it in the autumn at my family's cottage on beautiful Big Sand Bay in Ontario a number of years ago, watching the leaves turn green and red, hence the name. It's a blues. I called it Greens and Reds. But there have been a lot of beautiful colors, beautiful blossoms in the meadows and beautiful flowers around town. So it came to mind, and I thought I'd do that one off the top. Thanks for listening. If you're a regular watcher, that if you're able to make a donation, you know that I appreciate that and I welcome that. It's still a tough time to be in the music business, even here in Scotland where things are opening up a bit. Live music and any kind of meaningful live music is still a long way off. So if you're able to make a donation, check those links on the side of the page. You can find my PayPal account. If you're in Canada, you can send me an e-transfer. My email address is right along the bottom of the screen here. And most of all, though, stick around and enjoy the art, because that's why we're here. No pressure. And if you got some money but you want to support somebody else, as I know many of you do, please do that. It's an honorable thing to do. Thank you. Those of you who are figuring this out, I really appreciate it. It seems like somehow the video doesn't show up in the event, and I wish I could sort that out. Dave Lipsy sent me a link to another app where I can stream in a couple of platforms at once, which maybe I should be trying. I hesitate to make this more complicated than it already is, but I'm heartened by the number of names I see there. Thank you for finding me yet again. This is live from lockdown number 58, and I appreciate you hanging in for so long. John Farrell, congratulations on your Scrabble win. Glad you got that out of the way in time to come in. Nope. There we are. Sound. I'm going to play a samba. It's samba time, thinking about the warmth in Brazil. And I thought of one that I hadn't played before, so I think this is a new one. There are going to be some repeats. It's been a busy week. This is another tune by the great Antonio Carlos Jobim, and it's got a bit of a trick title. It's called the One Note Samba, but there's not really one note. There is one note, more or less, repeated in interesting rhythmic patterns for the first 8 measures. But from there it changes. It goes to a different note for the next 8 measures, and then in the bridge, or the middle 8, as they would say in these parts, it goes through 2 major scales which cover just about all of the other 12 notes in this chromatic scale. So a lot more than one note, and a tricky thing to do on your own, but I'm going to give it a shot. Antonio Carlos Jobim's One Note Samba. one note samba with many notes. Oh, that's tricky to do by yourself. I should be careful about that. Anyway, thanks for listening to that. I hope you enjoyed that. What a wonderful composer, Antonio Carlos Jobim. So many great tunes. What a treat to explore them on the nylon string guitar when I can. I am going to play another original tune of mine, like that one off the top. And again, something I have played for you before. I did a show this week that I didn't do a very good job of promoting, but some of you have caught a show that I've done a few times, or it's caught me playing a few times in a live weekly, at least weekly, online music forum called Ruby Tuesdays. Ruby Tuesdays used to be a kind of showcase open stage for singer-songwriters here in Edinburgh, which has gone virtual in the time of COVID. Interestingly, in the way that much geography has been erased or realigned in the time of the pandemic. This Edinburgh-based singer-songwriter group is actually led and hosted and coordinated by Roscoe Galloway, who is somewhere in the north of Sweden. And to continue the internationalism of all of this, Ruby Tuesdays inspired a group in Austria, in Salzburg, to start their own currently monthly series that they call Weasel Wednesdays. So this past Wednesday, 2 nights ago, I did a Weasel Wednesdays show for the Weasel Wednesday group in Salzburg, thanks to Sasha Selke, I think is his surname, who invited me to do that. And I played a couple of these tunes on that show. I didn't do a very good job of advertising it, as I said, so I'm not sure that any of you watched it, and if you did, well, you're going to hear them again. Anyway, this is another one of those tunes that I played, a tune of mine. This is called JM. And, JM could stand for anything you want, but if you're a music nerd and you note the predominance of the jazz minor scale, that will be a clue to where the name comes from for this one. I'm going to give myself a bit of an E minor ambient loop to start. Let me make some adjustments. There we go. JM, there you go, jazz minor, or any number under any other number of things that might stand for. You also know, if you listen regularly, that there's links on the side of the page to my Bandcamp pages where you can buy my records. That tune, JM, is on this album, Share the Wealth, which you can get there. Many of you have already purchased this digitally or even a hard copy. I really appreciate all your support. There's a bunch of my records there with various great singers and some instrumental things, and also a link to my band, the Special Interest Group, and our page there. Check those out if you can. Again, I know a lot of you bought those records, and I really appreciate it. I'll also say that I'm doing teaching and recording, those kinds of things that we can do online and remotely while we're still at least partially locked down. Hit me up if you're interested in a guitar lesson or a music theory lesson, or you need a track for your recording. I've had some fun. My good friend Keith McNair, whom I mentioned a few times, is working on a new tune. I did some tracks for him last week, and I just got a new mix of the tune for him, so that was kind of fun. See if there's any disturbed messages. No disturbed messages. People are there. Oh, it's so great you folks listen to me and keep coming back. Thank you very, very much. And now for you yippers, folks. Louise, I don't know if Louise Bevan is there with her mandolin. We're in the key of C today. I did a set of hornpipes last week for Catherine Nichols' birthday. And I'm going to do a completely different set today, just to try to mix it up, keep my exploration of this crazy little instrument going. Two quite contrasting pieces. The first one, check this out. I even have a prop for you. Can you see this? Sheet music from, I don't know when this sheet music was actually printed, but this song, You Are My Sunshine, was published in 1940. And this is a piece of sheet music that my favorite Scottish singer, Susanna MacDonald, had. I think she got from her sister. Although, ironically, it comes from the Canadian Music Sales Corporation Limited at 12 Dundas Square in Toronto. Dundas Square is a place I've been many times. And here it is, all the way in Edinburgh. But I got this from Susanna, and I thought I'd try to work up a little bit of You Are My Sunshine on the mandolin. That sheet music is in the key of F. I'm going to play it in the key of C, because before I do that, I'm going to play a much older piece of music. Another one from my collection from Stuart Seidel in Vancouver, who's been great, sending me lots of mandolin and other music. We've had lots of interesting discussions and some interesting discussions about this first piece just in the last week because it's a piece by Ludwig van Beethoven. And when I first came across it, it's this little sonatina. I assumed it was a transcription of a piano sonata or something. But I didn't realize until I saw an article that David Grisman had written where he published this bit of music. I think that's where Stuart first got it. Beethoven actually wrote this for the mandolin. I had no idea. He wrote a couple of pieces for mandolin. Who knew? So I'm going to play the first section of his sonatina in C major. There is a second section in C minor. It's a sonatina, which means it's written for mandolin and piano accompaniment. And I don't quite have it together to deliver the piano accompaniment as well as the mandolin part. Sorry to disappoint you, Deborah Huffaker in particular. I'm sorry to disappoint you. And the C minor section really needs the accompaniment. Arguably, the C major bit survives on its own. I'm going to try. So here's Beethoven's sonatina in the key of C for the mandolin. And You Are My Sunshine. Straight off of this music, although changed key by Jimmy Davis and Charles Mitchell. Hope you like it. I'll say again, as with many of my mandolin tunes, I'm sure this sonatina is supposed to go a lot faster than I'm going to play it, but I don't know. We'll slow down and smell the roses, shall we? Oh, I tried to get clever though, like that, and I got myself in some trouble. But there you go. You Are My Sunshine and Beethoven's Sonatina in C for the mandolin together at last. I'm willing to bet no one's ever medleyed those ones together before. So there's a bit of fun. Happy birthday time. There's a lot of birthdays again. And again, if it's your birthday and I missed it, I'm sorry. I try to track what I can. I missed Doug Merriam's birthday. I think I saw Doug there. Doug, are you here this week? Doug's birthday was last week, and he sent me a message today. He said, sorry, I couldn't watch your show last week. It was my birthday, and I was on Zoom with my kids. Oh, man, I wish I'd known. So, and Doug sent me a birthday request, but I got it this afternoon, and I didn't have time to work out the tune. He asked for a tune that I kind of know, but I don't know on guitar, solo guitar. So I'm going to have to work that up. Doug, stick around. I'm hoping next week I'll have your birthday request. It's been a busy week and a really busy day. You've heard me talk about the... I'm getting myself distracted, aren't I? You've heard me talk about the Kensington Market Land Trust. We're on the cusp of buying our building. I've been dealing with lawyers all day. Driving me crazy as opposed to practicing these tunes. But I was just trying to wish some people a happy birthday. So happy birthday, Doug, a week late. Some very good friends who had birthdays this week. Mark Duggan and Daniel Barnes, who are two fabulous Toronto-based percussionists. Daniel's on Facebook, Mark's not, but I had a nice chat with Mark last week, and Daniel sent me some messages. I don't know if anyone's listening, but happy birthday to both of those guys who had birthdays earlier this week. My very good friend Annie Perini from Montreal had a birthday. I met Annie during the Jazz Festival in Montreal, many, many years ago. And we've been close ever since, although I haven't seen her in a long time. Her birthday was on Tuesday. Annie, I hope you had a great one. Here in Edinburgh, Mike Orr has a birthday today. Mike is the partner of Aisling O'Dea, who's a fantastic violinist who has done some work with Symphronica, a group that I've often mentioned when I've worked here in Edinburgh. She's Irish, but lives here in Scotland, married to a good Irishman, Mike. Anyway, Mike, happy birthday. I think his birthday was yesterday. One of the great things Mike does is he posts regular updates on the development of the floral clock that gets built here in Edinburgh every year. So check his Facebook page out and you'll see the updates on that one. Happy birthday to Sarah Jordan. Sarah is part of my extended family. She's married to my cousin Chris. And Chris and Sarah have two fabulous twin boys, Finn and Mac. And I didn't remember to wish them a happy birthday. They share a birthday with me. Their birthday's at the end of April, April 27th. So I talked about all the Barrett birthdays in April, and I didn't mention their Reeds. They're not actually Barretts, but their mom, Sarah, has a birthday this week. Again, yesterday, the day before. Happy birthday, Sarah. Hope it was great. Sarah's got twins who are 3 years old. I'm sure she doesn't have time to be watching shows on Facebook. And finally, two important musical influences of mine. Yesterday was Bruce Coburn's birthday. Happy birthday, Bruce. Bruce is a hugely influential singer-songwriter on my life and my career. I've listened to Bruce for a long time. I did not clock that it was his birthday until I saw Colin Linden post that on Facebook. So I don't have a Bruce Coburn tune ready for you, although I know lots of them, and I might have. It was also Miles Davis's birthday this week. Miles died several decades ago, did he not? Early in the 90s, but he had a birthday. He would have had a birthday this week, and there is a dedication coming up for him later in the show. Stick around. But right now, I'm going to do another request. Not a birthday request as far as I know. I think, yes, Linda Partington is here. Linda, hello, Linda. I have no idea when your birthday is. So just in case your birthday is close, this is a request from Linda. Let me tell you a story about this. First of all, let me say that last week I ended the show with a beautiful country waltz called Mother, the Queen of My Heart. And I quoted Steve Moses, who had sent me the request for that. And in his request, he said, this might be way out of your wheelhouse. It was way out of my wheelhouse. I tried it anyway. That's not an expression that I would normally use, out of my wheelhouse. But ironically, I heard it for a second time this week, this time from one of those lawyers I was just bad-mouthing a minute ago, although this lawyer is a great one. She's working for our side, so she's been doing a great job. And she was having some trouble with the legalities around particular application of the harmonized sales tax to part of the building purchase that we're involved in. And she said that was out of her wheelhouse. We had to talk to an accountant. So I'm going to use that expression again and say I am going to do a tune that's way out of my wheelhouse. This is a request, as I say, from Linda Partington. She sent me this a while ago. Linda's a very loyal listener and a very good friend. Linda and I played some music together many years ago and kind of lost touch, and she found me here my live shows and has been watching regularly and had some trouble tuning in a couple of times. So I'm glad that you're there, Linda. But she encouraged me to check out Little Feat, a great American band, very busy in the 70s in particular. That I knew the band, but I hadn't listened to a lot of their music, and I went and checked out a few songs. She particularly suggested that I do a tune of theirs called Willin', which I didn't know at all. So, as I say, it's out of my wheelhouse because I didn't know it, and it's not a style of song that I usually play. And in particular, it's about a drunk, stoned truck driver moving his way around the southern United States. And I can't say I've ever been a drunk, stoned truck driver, and I don't have any plan ever to be in any of those states, small s states, doing that. So it is a bit of a stretch for me, but a fun tune, written by Lowell George, the frontman of Little Feat. Lowell's an interesting and very talented guy. He played in Frank Zappa's band for a while, and one story is that he got fired from that band because of this song. Frank Zappa, as you may know, was very anti-drug, and there's a number of very obvious drug references in the chorus of the song that you will hear. The whole song kind of stops to highlight them, and Frank didn't like that. I don't know if that's true, if that's why Lowell George got fired from Frank Zappa's band, but it's a fun story. This tune also might win the prize for the most interesting list of place names in the lyric of the song. Tucson, Arizona. Tucson, Tucumcari, Tucson to Tucumcari, Tehachapi to Tonopah. I can barely even say them. Tucson in Arizona, Tucumcari in New Mexico, Tehachapi in California, and Tonopah in Nevada. And my good friend Keith McNair, who I mentioned, is now in California and drove through at least Arizona, maybe some of those places. So if he's listening, I'll send that out to him too. I'm going to sing. I got to make some adjustments, as you know. But this is for Linda and for all the Little Feat fans. And for anyone who likes to drive a truck drunk and stoned around the southern states. I don't recommend it. This is Willin' by Lowell George. By the rain, driven by the snow, I'm drunk and dirty. Don't you know that I'm still willing? I was out on the road late at night. I see my pretty Alice in every headlight. Alice, Dallas Alice. And I've been from Tucson to Tucumcari, Tehachapi to Tonopah, driven every kind of rig that's ever been made, driven the back roads so I don't get away. And if you give me weed, white sand wine, if you show me a sign, I'll be willing to be moving. I've been kicked by the wind, robbed by the sleet, had my head stoved in, but I'm still on my feet. I'm still willing. Smuggled some smokes and folks from Mexico, baked by the sun every time I go to Mexico. I've been from Tucson to Tucumcari, Tehachapi to that's ever been made. Driven the back road so I wouldn't get wet. Been from Tucson to Tucumcari, to Hatshepsut to Tonopah, driven every kind of rig that's ever been made. Driven the back roads so I wouldn't get wet. And if you give me weed, white sand, wine, and if you show me a sign, I'll be willing to be moving. I'll be willing to be moving. I'll be willing. There you go. Willin' by Lowell George of Little Feat. Thank you, Linda, for suggesting that. They got a couple of great tunes, Little Feat. I thought about doing their tune Dixie Chicken, and I don't know if you know that tune. I can't quite decide if it's quite funny and kind of celebrates a female hero or if it's horribly sexist. So I decided not to take a run at that one. But anyway, there's Willin'. Make my adjustments back. Okay, which guitar am I going to start? I'm going to start with that. Little message of love and a loop out, and it might be time to wrap up. First of all, you know my message of love. Keep wearing your mask. Please keep your masks. Please keep wearing your mask, even if you live somewhere that's opening up. Keep your mask on. Wear it when you go into places, when you go into shops. Let's protect ourselves. Let's not take liberties. Let's not try to jump into this reopening too fast. I'm mighty nervous about places like this that are opening up. And I really, really, really want us to get through this pandemic. So let's try that together, shall we? This week also marks the first anniversary of the brutal murder of George Floyd. And I just want to take a moment to remember that, to remember his name, and to say his name, and to remember the outrageous circumstances in which he was killed. George Perry Floyd Jr. was an African-American man who was murdered by the police in Minneapolis. And in particular, Derek Chauvin, one of the four police officers who arrived on the arrest scene, knelt on Floyd's neck for at least 9 minutes and 29 seconds, the knee on his neck, and killed him. Thankfully, you can't count on the legal system, the so-called justice system, to come through in these matters very often. But Derek Chauvin was found guilty of murder and will be sentenced next month. And not really a big fan of punishments and sentences and prisons, but something's got to be done to call him and the police of the Western world to account for the way that people of color in particular get treated. So, that murder of George Floyd sparked really a revival of the Black Lives Matter movement and prompted protests and conversations about racism all around the world. The world is a better place thanks to those protests and those conversations, but it's not better enough to warrant brutal murders of Floyd and so many others that have happened before and since. We've got a long way to go. So my thought for you this week is let's try to get there together. Let's try to work on that, shall we? We don't need any more murders of anybody, and particularly not by the police, and particularly not in those kind of circumstances. Thanks. I mentioned John Farrell. I noticed he was missing. Here's the bass that John set up for me a few months ago. I mentioned that it was Miles Davis's birthday this week. Would have been, I think, on Wednesday, 26th. So I'm going to end with a loop of a Miles Davis tune. Now, I usually play a tune from the 70s, and I usually play a pop tune. This is not from the 70s. This was first recorded, or at least the recording was released in 1959. But it's about as close to a pop tune as you can get in the instrumental jazz world. It comes from the Miles Davis album Kind of Blue, which to this day continues to be the most popular and best-selling jazz album of all times, which is astonishing to me. I mean, it's a great album, and we should all own it, but how old is that? 60 years almost? More than 60 years. It's been around a long time. You'd think we could branch out a little bit. Anyway, I did play this tune once before, earlier this year. It's the tune All Blues, probably the best known tune off the album Kind of Blue. Sometimes I play it in the time signature of 5/4. I've had some funny conversations with Stuart and Deborah this week about time signatures. I'm going to play it in 6/8, the way Miles wrote it. Or perhaps Bill Evans wrote it. I don't know. It was recorded under Miles's name. In the key of G, just like he wrote it. Here's All Blues. Play along at home if you can. blues for you. Thank you very, very much for joining me again. Thanks for finding me in the madness that is Facebook and for sticking with me through this pandemic. I'm going to keep going for a while yet. I miss you. I love you. I will see you soon.